Hello, we are starting out with a quick tour of the QuickBooks Online software. Before you dive into any software, it's a good idea to sort of get the lay of the land and understand how to navigate around the software. So starting over here on the left sidebar, this is one way to move around the software. And let's just pop into a few of these sections and I'll show you what they contain. So this dashboard here is usually where you come into the software, and this gives you a little overview of your business. I don't usually pay too much attention to this. I like to see a full report instead, but if you want a little snapshot, that's here for you. And just make sure that your books are updated before you look at these numbers. There's also a listing of your bank accounts that are connected into QuickBooks Online, bank accounts and credit cards, and you can reorder them here if you want to change the order in the bank feed. So that's just one thing to note here. Let's go into the banking section. This is sort of where the magic happens, I like to say. This is where all your transactions are feeding in from any account that you have connected to QuickBooks. And we'll do a more thorough tour of this in a later module, but just know this is where your accounts are connected and this is where all of the transactions are feeding in. So you spend a lot of time in this section. Let's go into the sales section. This is where you'll see your invoices or any sales transaction really. But most importantly, if you're invoicing, you'll see your invoices here, see if they're overdue, see what's been paid. Also in this section, you can see a listing of your customers or clients, and you'll see your products and services if you've set those up for invoicing. Let's go to the expenses section. In this section, what I find is important is the vendor section, and that's that tab up here. This is a listing of all the vendors that you're paying, and you can edit vendor accounts here. You can also prepare 1099s in this section. So if you're preparing 1099s at year end, you can use that module here. So that's kind of important about the expenses section. The project section is great if you're a project-based business. You can track projects here, and you can track income and expenses by project so that you can run a profit and loss by project. So really important if you're that type of business. You can set this up in settings, turn it on, and use it. We also have the payroll section if you're going to be running payroll through QuickBooks. This is where you would set it up. You can also set up contractors through here and also get to that 1099 module here if you like. The reporting section is great, and hopefully you'll be using it a lot after doing this training. You have access to the profit and loss and balance sheet. Those are your most important reports as a business owner. You can also customize reports, and those will be saved here. And then we have our taxes section. So if you want to set up sales tax, that would be done here. You can track mileage here using the QuickBooks app if that is something you need to track. The accounting section is important. It houses your chart of accounts, which we'll go through in a later module. This is a listing of all the accounts you use to categorize transactions. You can also get to the reconciliation screen from this section. So that's just one way to navigate once you start reconciling your accounts. We'll go over that later as well. My Accountant, you can add an accountant or bookkeeper or tax preparer here so they have access to your books. You can also, once you add them, you'll be able to upload documents that you can share with your accountant. So really nice feature that QuickBooks has. And last on this sidebar, the apps section. So if you're going to connect in an app, maybe you're using Shopify or Square and you want to sync those apps to QuickBooks, that's done here in the app section. So let's pop back up here to the top, the plus sign new, or also called the Quick Create. If you're going to create a transaction in QuickBooks, it's usually done here. So if you're going to create an invoice, if you're going to create an expense, bank deposit, if you're going to do journal entries, pretty much any type of transaction that you're going to create in QuickBooks is done here. So this is just nice to know that this exists as an easy way to get to any of these transactions. And then the other important way to navigate around QuickBooks is through this gear icon here. So in the gear icon, you have, under your company, you have accountant settings. So any settings you want to update. You have manage users if you want to add users to the software. If you want to customize your invoices or other forms, you can do that here. You can also access the chart of accounts here, just another way to get to it. Under lists, you have your products and services, so that's an important one you might be wanting to update, and recurring transactions if you're going to set those up. And then the last one I want to point out here is just the reconcile. So another way to get to reconciling your accounts. There's really, I think, 3 ways that you can get there, but this is one of the ways, and this is my favorite way to get to reconciling. So that's a quick tour around QuickBooks Online. We'll learn a lot more about navigating the software as we work through it, but hopefully this was a good overview for you to get started.